Atelier practice. I'm Emma Lavelle, and I am going to be coaching you, guiding you, being present with you as you go through these lessons, experiments, concepts. And before we even get started, I want to invite you to do one thing with me, to make this your priority, which is to decide to listen to your body before anything else. Some of you will be watching this or listening to this because you're working with me one-to-one, right? You have made a commitment, you've taken a decision, you've made an investment, and now you're feeling like, okay, I need to get started. I need to prioritize this. I need to do things. There's that urge to do. You might be watching this because it's part of the book that we've created or on the Substack community. Wherever you have contact with this, I just want you to notice that urge to do, to tick boxes, to complete things, and instead invite you to consider what your body needs right now. And I'm going to share a couple of practices that I use and to really share with you that it might be that all you do for the first month is listen to your body. And I want to make sure that you know that that could be the greatest investment. It's a really loud fly. I just tried to bash away, but it looks like I'm saying, ta-da, investment. That can be the greatest investment that you make in your experience of the rest of your life. Just connecting with your body, creating space from the tension. Okay. I'm sharing this because some of you have already started with the exercise, checking the terrain, and it already feels like, okay, there's too much. There are journal prompts, there's a video to watch. I need to be ready for my coaching session. You don't have to do any of it. This is really about learning the skill of returning to you being your center of gravity when that gravitational pull gets pulled over to another planet coming past, and knowing that you can do that. That's really how we start to have the two levers, or not even levers. I want you to think about it first of like the rudder, okay? Learning to use your own rudder under the water and thinking about how little energy that takes, right? It's just little micro movements, and now you're going in a different direction. Steering the wheel, that can cost more energy, that can cost more focus, right? And sometimes we want to use more energy and more focus because there's more going on around us and we need to take more micro moments, and other times we can be more relaxed. But the rudder is subtle, and tuning into the rudder, which is your body, okay, that's a practice. So right now, what I would love for you to think about is, are you aware of your body? Or is it something that it needs to be managed, or it needs to be controlled, or you just don't even think about at the moment? And you can literally, with me, you can just notice like, okay, if you touch your face, is it familiar? Right? How often do you touch your skin with love? Can you stroke it? Can you touch it slowly? When I did my first swimming lesson last week with my very good friend Anna, who teaches the Alexander technique method, there was a practice of scooping up water and slowly putting it on our faces. And I couldn't do it slowly. I didn't have the muscle practice of slow movements in my arms. So that was my first thing to start to practice. When I first created my own life atelier a few years ago, 5 years ago, I noticed that I was brushing my hair aggressively. I was doing everything fast. Scrub, scrub, scrub. So that was one of the places, one of the touch points that I used to just slow down and notice how I was touching and connecting with myself. Okay. Then if you come to your neck and your shoulders, do you notice anything in them? Are they tight? Are they already open? And really make these check-ins practices that you're using as often as you need to, more often than you need to. Assume that you're not doing it often enough and do whatever you need to do to help yourself. I started with sticky notes. I'd put a sticky note on my phone that just said, stretch, breathe, exhale, all these different things. You can put something, one of the practices that I like to do is to put, beautiful hand cream, or if I'm working on my neck, maybe like some kind of body oil or facial oil, and put it like next to my laptop so that I see it. Put it in front of the kettle if I'm going to be going in the kitchen. Really don't underestimate the power of simple things to support yourself. Then get to your arms. I like to give them a good shake. A lot of you will have seen me start a call like that and a wiggle. Okay, and just like really like wiggle. You can stand up if you want to. And then notice what's going on with your stomach. Is there any tension? The only practice that I've been using in the last week is unclenching my stomach, because one of the things that I noticed when I started to work with Anna, because I had a problem with my ankle, was we looked at my posture and I was tensing my knees, which I found absolutely bizarre. So first I focused on untensing my knees. And then when I started to follow up, I realized I was tensing them because I trained myself to hold my stomach in. And I couldn't, for the first few days, unhold my stomach in. So the way that I did it was I wiggled my bum. And for a couple of days, I kept doing that. And I just kept like wiggling my bum out. And I was doing it every time I was at a traffic light, every time I was in the kitchen and doing washing up. And I noticed like, oh, tense, 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 wiggle my bum. And it's been about a week. And this morning I realized I was tensing my stomach. And I just took a breath out. And I felt that shift of like, oh, actually, it's more normal for me to untense than to tense. And that's just taken a week of focus, of that being my only focus. Now, I am sharing this with you because that impact has been felt throughout the rest of my life. Taking decisions, prioritizing, connecting with friends, family, goals. Everything has had a lot more flow and simplicity just because of this practice of untensing my stomach. So I want you to just notice, if possible, if not, don't worry. Is there one area of your body that you are tensing or holding tension? And what would be the easiest way for you to make that your priority to open, to breathe, to create space into? This morning, I shared with one of you Anna's phrase, which is soft and tall for the neck. We get trained to tense, sit up straight, that's tension. Soft and tall creates a very different movement and ease in your body. It might be your 2 feet. Are you standing with even weight on both of them? When you have even weight on both of them, what I've learned is you kind of like wobble a little in place instead of the tension that it takes to stand still. You could do the same as me if it's your stomach and just notice like, oh, okay, there's space behind my back. Interesting. And just make that your practice. You can do it for a day. You can do it for a few days. You can do it for the month if you want. Don't feel the need to go on to the next exercise if this is enough right now. What you're going to be learning is to define enough for yourself. And that starts by being able to hear it in your body. You'll learn why as we move along. Don't worry about that. Today, it's just about that feeling. Hello, body. Right? What are you telling me? What are you sharing with me? That's our starting point in all of the work. So it's the foundation. Okay? And let me know how you get on.